All right, so we reached a point in time where we need to organize all our images that we've generated with Leonardo AI and put them in the appropriate folders, select the best images for each scene, and then give them a name. Just tag each image that you want to use for your video generation. So this is what I've done thus far, and I'm going to show you what I've done. You can follow a similar format or equivalent. You're more than welcome to follow what I've done here. But basically, I have a folder for each scene. There's the main one for the characters, which I've shown you before, but there's also one for each scene. So in my case, I have 5 scenes here. So let's get into scene 1, and we're gonna I'm gonna show you what I did to sort of match the images selected with the appropriate scenes. So here's scene 1. Let me just move this over to the side here. Now, looking at scene 1, if you recall, this is where the journey begins. So we start off with the narrator, and the narrator says, in a small village, a young man named Leo dreamed of adventure. Okay, one day he decided to explore the enchanted forest nearby. He packed some food and set off, excited and a bit nervous. So what I've done here is you can see that the format that I use is, for instance, scene 1 and part 1, I basically denote it as 1.1. And if I want to use a secondary image for 1.1, meaning scene 1, part 1, then I'll just call it 1.1 and I'll put an underscore after it. And if I want to use another, say for instance, a third image throughout this part of the scene, then I'll just denote it as 1.1 and I'll put 2 underscores and so on. So if you want, you can follow that format or you can create your own. Okay, so the second part says, this is now Leo talking, and he's looking at trees. And then he says, wow, this place is amazing. I can't wait to see what's inside. Okay, so that's where I put 1.2. I selected these images and I said 1.2, 1.2 underscore to use 2 different images during this part. Then for 1.3, which is the third part of scene 1, it's the narrator again. And here he says, as Leo walked deeper into the forest, he felt a sense of wonder, but he didn't know what challenges lay ahead. Okay, so that's where I put 1.3 and then 1.3 underscore 1.3 and 2 underscores because these are the 3 images that I want to use for 1.3. So let's take a look at the images. Let me open this up here, just put it to the side. So what I want you to do when you're putting together your images, specifically in this organized fashion, I want you to kind of play the video in your mind, right? In a sense. So imagine, for instance, this first scene here, okay? So what you could possibly do is start reading and go through the images and see how it's going to fit when you go to generate the video. For instance, let's give it a shot. Okay, so the narrator starts and says, in a small village, a young man, Leo, dreamed of adventure. So you can imagine in the video generation, it would show an image, this image moving here. Maybe we'll add some birds or something, for example. One day he decided to explore the enchanted forest nearby. Okay, so here you have the narrator starting to talk about it. He packed some food and set off excited and a bit nervous. Okay, so this is him kind of like excited, a bit nervous, and the narrator kind of speaking about that. Okay, then next, Leo looking at the trees. Wow, this place is amazing. I can't wait to see what's inside. Okay, then next, as Leo walked deeper into the forest, and you see the narrator now kind of behind the scene of the forest with a deeper image into the forest. And then it says he felt a sense of wonder, but he didn't know what challenges lie. But he didn't know what challenges lay ahead. Okay, so this is an image of Leo getting ready to wander into the forest. So as you can see, these images fit well with the script, with scene 1, right? So these images, you kind of like play the video in your head and see if it fits well, and do you need to revise anything with the images, right? So you want to think on that level. Now, the other thing I'm going to show you how to do in the next video lesson is to do some edits. For instance, there's some text here on the bottom that was generated, and it's meaningless. So we're going to remove that using Canva and the AI tools that are built into Canva. So there's a couple of other things that we can remove. For instance, I don't know if we need this food here. We can maybe remove that, or we can keep it. We'll see. So anything that you feel won't fit right, you can remove. Okay. Now, back to the folder. Now, you'll see I have a bunch of other images here that haven't been used. I'm just going to keep these as extras um, in case I need them, but for now, I'm not intending on using them. Okay, so that's sort of what you need to do for all the scenes. Okay, so let's look at the very next scene, scene 2, for instance. Again, same thing. Okay, so this is the scene where they're going to cross the river, as you recall. So here, the narrator starts by saying, after a while, Leo reached a wide river. So let me go ahead and open up the images again that I've selected to see how it fits with the story. Okay, so scene 2. After a while, Leo reached a wide river. The water rushed quickly. He saw no bridge. So here's Leo kind of looking. He saw no bridge. Okay. Then he asks in a frustrated manner, how will I get across? And you can see Leo with the river in the back wondering how he's going to cross the river. The narrator then speaks and says, just then, Leo heard a voice. It was Maya, a clever. This is kind of Leo here looking because he heard a voice. And it says, it was Maya, a clever girl from his village. And this is now introducing Maya. Okay. Maya smiles and says, I can help. So Maya smiles and says, I can help. We can build a raft from those fallen branches. Leo then says, great idea, Maya, let's do it. So then it shows at that point Maya and Leo working together to build that raft. Okay, so these are the images selected. And that's that. Now, there's going to be a few modifications. So one of the things that you want to focus on when it comes to character consistency is their dress code. That's a little bit challenging because with AI image generation, it often gives you a variety of different clothes, and from image to image, it's kind of hard to synchronize clothing. But we can do our best, and more often than not, the clothing does match pretty well. And there's a few things you can do to help ease that or facilitate the dress code. You can help facilitate the synchronization of the attire throughout all the scenes. For instance, here we see Maya with a jacket and then a hoodie under it, and then some she has some writing or something on her sweater. So we can possibly remove that just for consistency. Also, it appears that she's wearing a t-shirt under this hoodie, so that gives us room to play with, because if for instance she wants to build a raft from branches, it could make sense that she's going to take off her jacket, maybe take off her hoodie so she doesn't get everything dirty, right? Because she's going to be dealing with like branches and stuff and water. So it could make sense that she's taking that off and now she has a shirt under it, in which case this image would make sense. Maybe she took those off and put her clothing in her book bag. So that could fit the narrative. So just to kind of like, you know, show you that there is a way to make this happen. And also we can remove this in Canva. So that we don't have this problem in later scenes where she's wearing a hoodie and there's nothing on her hoodie. Okay. So in any case, I'm going to show you how to do that in the next video lesson, how to kind of clear out these features that are not needed, they're extra, so that you can make your characters more consistent, even in terms of what they're wearing. Okay, so in any case, what you're going to do is essentially, for all the other scenes, all the remaining scenes, you're going to do exactly as I'm showing here. Just kind of play it in your head, see if the video fits, and do the same thing. So just go through it and see if it makes sense. Kind of just play it in your head and make sense out of it, right? So we'll do that for all the scenes, scene 3, scene 4, scene 5, and this is in the case that you want to do 5 scenes, for instance. If you have more scenes, then you're going to do more. We're going to be doing some editing in Canva. For instance, in this image, you have something coming down here with a little flame. So we'll remove that, for example. So a couple of things that we'll play around with and tweak and fix. But ultimately, just kind of play the video in your head, see if it makes sense. And this is like the last scene right here on their journey home. So again, just kind of play that, see if it fits well. Does it fit the script well? And so on. So again, in each folder, I have several additional images if I ever want to change my mind or use one of them or focus on character consistency a little more. So it's always good in each folder to have additional ones, but you'll see the way that I denoted all the images are with this format. So in this case, we have 5.1, 5.1 underscore, and so on, and then 5.2, 5.3, 5.4, 5.5, and if I want to use a secondary, I'll do 5.5 underscore, and just kind of follow that format throughout all the scenes. You could do something like this or equivalent, as I mentioned. So in the next video lesson, I'll show you how to take the images that need to be updated, modified, enhanced, and how to go about doing that within the AI tools in Canva.